offense. You can't ignore defense. But, we have to know what our risk tolerance is. We have to maybe do Roth conversion strategies that we put into place to make sure that when we get into that red zone, we're going to score. And so all those things work in our favor.
Well, typically we are here staying financially focused, but it's the time of year where we're football focused on today's program with the founder and CEO of GulfCoast Financial Services. He is John Kuykendall. And of course, GulfCoast Financial Services has been named best of the best in financial services 11 straight years and running as named by the readers of the Lake City Reporter. But John, it is football season. Are you participating in any fantasy leagues?
Well, Peter, no, I don't participate in those. My fantasy is watching the Gators lose every week. So, the University of Florida is not doing real well right now, and hopefully they can get it back together. But football's interesting. It's a game of chances.
Yeah. Yeah, always interesting. That's
Yeah.
certain. Yeah, I'm playing fantasy, and one of my least favorite things is when I'm playing a player and he does not score as well as somebody I have sitting on the bench. That's always very frustrating. And I think we are going to make an analogy today between football and the financial world. I suppose the analogy there is sometimes people have some options financially that they're not using that could be better suited than the things they are using.
Well, that's right, Peter. Sometimes the team that we've got on the field isn't the team that's going to get us through retirement. And we're going to have to switch up that team as we move forward because, the team that we've got when we're on our own 20 is different from the team we're going to put on when we're on their 20. And so those are the kind of things that we have to think about as we go through this analogy.
Yeah, and of course the first and second half of the football game very different. The Atlanta Falcons, I think, probably the best, well versed in that with their Super Bowl loss to the New England Patriots, that historic comeback there. But
oh yeah.
John, not everybody a die-hard football fan, but we're having some fun here, and this time of year it is the topic of conversation. So let's talk about the analogies that football can present us for our financial lives. You mentioned already the red zone. Like number one rule in football: don't turn the ball over, don't fumble in the red zone.
Well, that's right, Peter. And what we don't want to do is have an interception or a fumble while we're nearing that goal line. And in our case, Peter, our goal line is retirement. And retirement's not going to happen at the goal line. Retirement starts when we get into that red zone in the 20. As we move forward to retirement, there are certain things that we have to do, like protect our wealth and make sure that we're not over aggressive as we get ready for retirement. We have to have a conservative strategy, one that's going to get us the points and not make us fumble or throw that interception or lose the ball. A turnover, as we've talked about on this show several times, Peter, a turnover late in life for our retirement, losing a lot of our portfolio is going to affect our retirement. If you don't believe that, ask anybody who was retired in 2008.
Yeah, can change what you expect the trajectory of your financial future, your quality of life to be about.
Yeah,
if you
right.
if you make a bad turnover at the wrong time. Speaking of scores, John, I enjoy the touchdowns and the field goals, but the touchdowns are certainly more exciting. The players do their little dance, their celebrations. However, I've seen some players celebrating exuberantly and then they still end up losing the game. So the analogy here is like sometimes we celebrate scores with our financial lives, with our investments. Hey, we had a winner. That does not mean that we are ultimately going to win the game. And we need to be cautious because scores are small wins, but ultimately we want to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, we may have a huge run up in the market one year, Peter, and we may make, 15 or 20%. But just as easily the next year, we can lose 15, 20, or 30. So we have to, the small, as we like to say here, we don't try for home runs, we try for singles. If we can consistently hit the ball and get on base, then we're going to consistently make money and have the kind of retirement we want.
You're switching to baseball on me.
I got the baseball, yeah.
It's that time of year for that as well. Yeah. But point being, like, get on base or
Mhm.
make the first down when you can. You don't have to clear the whole field at once. Small wins consistently is
Mhm.
progress.
Well, if you look at it, I mean, it's exciting as you watch, the quarterbacks and they throw that long ball and a guy jumps up and catches it. It's exciting, but just as many times he jumps up and misses the ball or the quarterback overthrows him. I mean, it happens that way. But if you look, the ones that are consistent, the ones that score the most points, Peter, are the kickers. And I didn't realize this until you told me this in the talking about the show today. And I went back and looked, and believe it or not, in 2024, a guy by the name of Chris Boswell. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't even know who he plays for. He scored 158 points and was the number one scorer in the NFL. The number two scorer was Cameron Baker. He scored 150. And the number three scorer was Brandon Aubrey. All of them are kickers.
Yeah, and in fact, I think like the top 24 NFL scorers of all time are all kickers. You think it's the running backs or the quarterbacks or
Yeah,
the wide receivers, but it is the kickers. Take points when you can. They have
yeah,
longer careers. The longevity there, I think, is a
yes,
factor. But also they're scoring very consistently, John.
yes, they are. They're scoring very consistently. We take them for granted. I mean, we really do. We don't think about them that much. I saw a guy kick a 70-yard field goal the other day,
Yeah.
and there was no real big celebration on the field. A couple of guys patted him on the head. He runs back to the sideline. But it's like you said, one of those wide receivers catches a ball, and there's 15 minutes of dancing. I mean, yeah, they, it's the consistency and getting the points on the board, getting the gains on the board, having that consistency. As you know, with sequence of return, if we're pulling money out of our portfolios and we're losing money in the market and not having consistent gains, then our money's going to run out quicker than if we had gains.
Yeah. And I was going to move on to getting sacked, but you segued there for me. Sequence of returns risk, John. I mean,
Mhm.
we're having fun with this football analogy, but talk to us about the loss of ground that happens if we encounter sequence of returns risk in the wrong way.
Well, Peter, what it sequence of return says that I'm pulling my money out, and let's say that the first years are negative, then it's been proven that my money is not going to last as long in retirement as someone who starts out pulling their money in a positive market. You can have two individuals with the same amount of money, and if one has 2 years of positive returns and the other one has 2 years of negative returns, the negative return is going to run out of money quicker. Sequence of return is just the fact that we're pulling out 4, 5, 6%, and we're losing 4 or 5 or 6%. We've lost 12, not just six. And so we need that time as we retire to build our portfolios up as we're drawing money out. And we have to have that bucket approach where we've got more than one bucket. So if the market is off, I can not pull as much money out of my growth bucket and pull the money out of my income bucket.
Losing ground
Mhm.
significantly impacts our odds for success. And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
shocked by this statistic, John, is that a team gets a first down after being sacked only 20% of the time, compared with about 60% of the time if there is no sack. So the odds
Wow.
of success are significantly diminished. And in our financial lives, if we have that loss in value in the market, and realize it by creating the income and locking it in, that also impacts our odds, our chances of success.
Well, that's right. I mean, it really does. But don't forget also that a good defensive strategy, one where we are defensive in the market and we are not taking huge risk, creates offense. So, how many times have you seen the defense get an interception and turn the ball over to the offense and they score? Happened, the other night on Monday night or Thursday night football, where the Bills won. They were tied up, and all of a sudden, they got an interception. They scored. They won the game. Those kind of things are what happen. We have to have a defensive strategy. We have to know what our risk profile is, Peter.
Yeah.
We have to understand how much risk we're willing to take and how much risk we should take. I mean, you may have a high risk tolerance, but maybe you shouldn't be doing it at your age or where you are in life.
When we think about momentum, we think about growth, we think about gains, we think about positive returns, but defense can create momentum as well. Like you just said, when the ball gets turned over, the offense comes in pumped up. They have a better opportunity. There's an old saying, John, is that offense wins games, defense wins championships. And I think that's true in our financial life as well.
Yeah, and also, Peter, we have to think, and we have to be ready to be on the defensive for taxes. Make sure we're not paying more taxes than we should. How are we doing our estate planning, our insurance, our long-term care planning? Those are all things that are part of a good plan, and that financially focused income plan puts all of that together. And that's why we really have to have it. And we can't ignore the defense because, just because the offense is doing well, they may not win the championship without the defense. You can't ignore defense. But, we have to know what our risk tolerance is. We have to strategies that we put into place to make sure that when we get into that red zone, we're going to score. And so all those things work in our favor.
Well, I started with fantasy football and maybe not fantasy retirement, but your ideal retirement. If you create the plan, John, a lot less luck dependent than fantasy football would be, and much more important and more rewarding.
Oh yeah, I mean the kind of retirement that we want to have, the kind of retirement that all of us deserve, is the plan we put together and the way we focus and the way we implement it. We just like coaches on the sideline. We have to coach our retirement. We have to plan. We have to strategize. We have to look at our budgets. We have to monitor our budgets. All these things go into place in order to put together a good plan for our financial future.
Well, football's fun, but finances are serious. Either way, success requires some good habits, some discipline, some hard work. And John, also having that game plan. And you call it the financially focused written retirement income plan. That is the plan that you put together for savers and investors and those that want the chance of success into retirement and want to have that plan in place. The financially focused written retirement income plan is what gives them the guidelines, the rules of the game, and the winning strategies.
That's right, Peter. All those things go hand in hand. All of those things have to work in retirement. Retirement isn't easy. Retirement's not for wimps. It's for winners. And so we have to make sure that we've got this. It's more complicated than you think.
And even the best of the best athletes always still work with a coach, ladies and gentlemen. And that should tell us something about our financial lives as well. John Kuykendall and the team from GulfCoast Financial Services here to help and assist, here as a resource for you, and always offering on the program to hear from you, answer and address questions or concerns, and most importantly, to help you create, craft, and put that plan together, the financially focused written retirement income plan. So if you have any concerns, questions, or would like to get your plan put together, pick up the phone, give them a call, 386-755-9018. That is 386-755-9018. John, always a pleasure having you here on the program, keeping us financially and football focused.
Well, thank you, Peter. It was great to be here. It was a fun show today. I enjoyed that.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. has been named as Best of the Best since 2015 in the category of Best Financial Advisor in the Lake City, Florida area. The award was based on receiving the most votes in this category from a survey offered and tabulated by the Lake City Reporter. No direct or indirect compensation was provided to the Lake City Reporter and/or any raters, and the award is not contingent on future direct or indirect compensation offered to the newspaper and/or raters. Portfolio performance is not a criterion, and voting is open to any readers of the newspaper.